soon. So, Patricia, I want to thank you for all your support. I want to publicly say it. Patricia, it's people like you that allow us to preserve history and keep doing these pub crawls in the Hill City. But, it's not about me tonight, y'all. I got a panel with me. I got a crew. These are people I've been rolling with for a long time. I wanted to wait till some people tuned in, and I'm going to bring out the real entertainment for tonight. I got my brother from another mother, Mr. Chris Mendace from Supernatural Untold Stories. And then I got my man, Scotty the Medium.
Hello.
AKA the Cookie Monster.
What's up? I love cookies. Don't tell anyone.
Look, hey, Scotty, I don't know where it's at. I don't know what Courtney did with it, but we got you a gift today. I got to find it.
What?
If she has a chance, she'll bring it in here. But we did bring you we did get you a gift. We got you a gift.
Sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I love gifts.
But yeah, man. How y'all doing, fellas?
I don't know where Chris went. Chris is alerting us that he was just abducted. He's on the mothership.
Oh no, I hope he's not getting probed.
He is. He's definitely getting probed right now.
Oh, man.
Oh, he's screaming. Yeah, it's it. The feed is cutting out. It's cutting back in. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's back with us, folks.
That was crazy. Just completely kicked me out.
That sounded like a horrendous ordeal.
Chris, you're not getting probed, are you? Chris, you there? Can you hear?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
It's not real, Chris. It's a hologram.
And I gotta shout out Mr. John Sullivan from FPI. You want to talk about another team that lifted us up when we first came out here? John Sullivan, one of the best investigators, one of the top A1s right there. Shout out FPI, Fredericksburg Paranormal. So what's up, fellas? It's been a minute.
What up?
What's up?
Johnson, looks like you got probed, Chris, when you got abducted.
Yeah, he did.
I did.
I remote viewed the whole thing. It was horrendous. It was terrible.
We got Ron Wood from Boo's Paranormal.
What's up?
What's up?
Best equipment maker in the land.
Look, his stuff is still back there. Hold on. Right up here.
Chris, I'm tired of you showing off your spirit box. Hold on. You know what?
Yeah, go get your spirit box.
He says he's got
guys. I don't have
John Sullivan. We got to promote you for a second, man. Here you go.
Look at that.
Me and Chris got matching spirit boxes, y'all.
What a beaut right there, huh?
His is always bigger than mine now. I don't know why.
Yep. Yeah, that'll happen, man. It's okay.
You know what they say, y'all. You know what they say.
What do they say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What platform are we on?
What do they say about covalent bonds in your high school?
Oh no, what's going on here?
But y'all, it's an honor to be here with y'all tonight. Y'all are two great investigators.
Oh, stop!
Y'all are.
That's okay.
Y'all are two awesome folks.
Yo, I wanted to talk to you guys about something because you showed me that radio and it reminded me. So like I've been doing a lot more live readings on TikTok again. Like I kicked back up and doing all that stuff. And in the last couple of days, I had some things come through during readings that didn't quite make sense for like the rest of the reading. And two of the things were these two objects: a wire brush, so like a wooden handle with wire teeth on it for cleaning up paint or something like that, and a ham radio or a shortwave radio. And I couldn't figure out why those things would like show up in my vision or whatever. So I had to go over to my mother-in-law's house tonight for dinner to see some relatives that were visiting. And in the meantime, one of my wife's uncles passed away, and he had a big like workshop underneath my wife's underneath my mother-in-law's house. So I wanted to go see what kind of tools were down there, because nobody else wants whatever's left. So I went down there, and the first thing that I see in all of these tools is a wire brush, and under the wire brush is this shortwave ham radio thing, just like sitting there. So I I asked my mother-in-law if I could have the radio, and she said, yeah, whatever, because she was going to throw it out. So now I have this shortwave radio or whatever it is. And I think that I was supposed to have it for something. What do you guys think?
I don't know. You guys there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lost.
You guys are frozen on my end there.
Oh no. Hey, what's up there, revered wolf VIP?
So,
I like that.
Are you telling me you're about to come up with this great short wave ham radio contraption that you're about to come out with?
I'm just telling you that for some reason my guides led me to this radio, and I'm just wondering why. I was wondering, and you guys have been like messing with radios lately, like doing like long range communication via radios, right? So like radio waves are starting to play a big part in everybody's life. Yeah, see, Chris has his little white walkie-talkie right there. You got one too. It's all right. I don't have one.
Sean doesn't pretend. You were supposed to get one. You never got one. You gotta just abandon us.
Chris, I'm glad you said it. I wouldn't go say it.
Well, we got to call him out. What calling out is due, right? Where's yours, Scott? You were gonna buy one. Join us.
Look, it's right there.
You
guys are silly gooses.
No, but it's funny. You're talking about shortwave frequencies and stuff like that. Like that, the new spirit box that I got from Ron actually does shortwave FM and AM frequencies. I've never really experimented with shortwaves before, and it's something that I'm looking forward to trying to experiment with. But
dude, my guides have been like pounding information in my head for like weeks, and light, sound, vibration, these three things, and code. Light, sound, vibration, and code. These things have been coming up over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if you think about any of those things, or what creates them or how they're created, you just like always end up at the same exact spot if you're thinking about those things. And I'm not really sure why I keep getting all this information about it. Maybe people in the chat will know, or maybe you guys have some kind of idea. Have you guys had themes come up in your life and information presented to you in ways you didn't understand?
Absolutely.
All the time.
That's why I come to you. You too. Ask Chris how many times I call him with questions.
Yeah. How many times we actually have to run things by each other based on things that we're either experiencing or things that we have pop up. I mean,
that's why we started this random show.
Yeah, we had it happen on our way over to the doll's house. The first time we ever went, Sean, I kept having stuff happening around the house that led to somehow being involved with, the doll's house. But yeah, it's interesting, like especially when you see it beforehand, before something happens, versus like after. It's interesting. What are you thinking? You gonna make something to try to communicate and use frequencies?
I think that I'm gonna just find a frequency that's supposed to work. I have no idea. I don't even know how to explain this. I've been in my mother-in-law's house a million times. I've been in the basement 10 times, and I've never seen a shortwave radio. This isn't even what I thought a shortwave radio looked like. The thing I have, and I'll post a picture of it later because I want to talk about it. It looks like an old school 90s boombox, but then when you look at it, it has different kinds of radio frequencies built into it. It's really neat. So what I'm hoping is that mixed with some of the stuff that I kind of learned from you in the UFO spotting, that I might be able to make some kind of connection through the radio with them. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see.
So, I mean, it kind of plays out with, the paranormal aspect things too. Like, I mean, when we use spirit boxes, what are we using spirit boxes for? It's actually going through different types of radio frequencies that is actually communicating with whatever spirit's there. You're not legitimately just talking to anything that's out there that's using a white noise to communicate. It's actually particularly using those specific radio frequencies, more kind of a little more into the frequencies itself. I've noticed, and especially when I was working on the app that we're supposed to have, that the radio frequencies were actually communicating within that like 200 to 300 like megahertz radio frequencies. Between those frequencies was when you were able to actually communicate with these spirits, in addition to adding when you're getting some sort of EVPs, especially like the DR60s. The reason DR60s, in my opinion, kind of work a little better is because you're recording in a lower radio frequency. It's picking up lower radio frequencies versus the newer recorders that we have now. In all my honestly opinion, frequencies is really the communication aspect of pretty much anything.
Can we stop here for a second on that? So everything you guys are talking about, I love it, but we got to stop here because if we talk too much, I'm gonna miss my thought. Frequency is everything. Everything. Scott uses frequency to tap in to his thoughts.
Yep.
And then his spirit guides are showing him frequency, connection. Chris, Howie, and Scott, I can't wait for you to meet Howie. Howie's another one of my go-to people. Chris and Howie probably see my name pop up on their phone. They're like, God. But those two are two I lean on a lot. Sullivan, I used to call him, but he's busy. So, and Ronnie Anderson's another one. What's up, Ronnie? These guys are people I talk to, but Howie and Chris, probably the main two I speak to when I have questions about real technical stuff. But frequency is everything. DR60. Why do I use it? Because it's old technologies. I don't think it's picking up decibel, which is what new recorders I believe. Now I'm no tech, I'm no scientist, but I do believe the new recorders are picking up decibels. That's why you can hear a squirrel fart on them. That's why they're so low. The older ones are picking up more frequency related stuff. Also, the magnetic recorders and the stuff, the noise in the recorder is generating that as well. So
yep.
I think frequency and investigation is everything. And it's got to be something to do with these frequencies. But I was watching Howie's podcast tonight, him and Rhonda Harris. They were speaking of the solar, the celestial, the stuff going on in the sky. I noticed we host a lot of public investigations, and with all the solar stuff going on, Friday night was the most active the Miller Claytor house has been since I've started investigating it. Again, frequency is all changed. Everything's changed since these frequencies have been changing.
Yep.
If you notice,
speaking of Rhonda Harris, another paranormal genius that I know, it's got to be something with these frequencies going on. What is y'all's input on that?
Yo, I feel like I skipped a timeline. It's real weird. A lot of things that I held true have been shaken away from me very recently in the last couple months. And I feel like I've stepped like from one life into another. Like this looks like the life I was living, but things are drastically different here. And I'm the one having to readjust, and everybody else seems like is making me feel like it's normal everyday life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I was reading something the other day, and Sean, I think I sent it to you, if I'm not mistaken. And it talked about like the Mandela effect, which is something in relations to what we're talking about in a way.
Yep.
It talked about the possibility and the reason why a lot of people are more and more recently experiencing these different types of Mandela effects is because in the life that you were living in, when the world was supposed to end, the world ended, and it's your vessel, your body, it kind of fell into the closest thing to the current dimension you were living in. So you fell into a different dimension while you're still alive, which is a very similar relation to the actual dimension you were living in. But the reason these Mandela effects are happening is because of that different dimension time frame that you changed and that you are currently now living in.
I feel like that just happened to me again. like recently, like in the last couple months. I feel like that happened to me. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like even like my relationships with you guys, it's like it's the same but different also. It's really weird.
It is weird. But dimension is just a scientific word for space. If I walk outside my door, I step into another dimension. So speaking into the paranormal world, what space do we walk into when we really walk outside our home? When we go and investigate mentally, we're stepping into another dimension. When we open up that veil, we're going into a whole nother space. It's deeper than what we think it is. When you go into your mediumship or whatever zone, I watch you, Scott. I watched you at the jail. That's when I realized that you're a lot different than what I've seen before. When you close your eyes, you're literally I watch you go into a whole nother zone. I watch Chris investigate. And Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong. When Chris investigates, at first he is real quiet. He doesn't say much. He never just jumps into an investigation. He goes into another zone. A lot of times when I investigate, I'm just kind of chill, laid back. I don't just jump into questions. You have to find that state, that zone. You have to connect. Are we stepping into another space when we do that? Is that our dimension that we're stepping in? Because people, I think, throw the word dimension out like we're flying light years somewhere.
Dude.
No, we're going into another space at that point, right? Or am I wrong? Or am I crazy?
We are. We're definitely going into another space. We're pushing our consciousness out into a different part of the hologram that our five senses can't pick up, but that consciousness can because it understands that space.
And I think
I like that.
when you look into it as a whole, part of our life is based on frequencies. I mean, you're living, your speech, your heartbeat, everything has a frequency, and because of that, I think it goes into the whole different types of dimension that we talk about. There's that dimension itself probably has a frequency. You're tapping into that frequency for that specific dimension. But
so
anyways.
Yeah, I was just listening to this other podcast. If I can remember the name of it, I'll tell you. But basically, they had this guy on, and he was talking about possibly why our human brains only perceive this world that we perceive. And he said basically, he's like, if you think about your brain as a computer and it needs to like conserve energy to run the most optimally, it wouldn't pick up on things that are absolutely of no consequence to you, right? So it would pick up like a desk or a microphone or a moving car, and our brain really quick makes sense of what all those molecules are, and it says that's a car, right? But if there are other beings or other energies that live at higher frequencies that we can't even feel or interact with, why would our brain waste time giving us that information if it makes no sense to our survival? So the guy was basically like, this is like the most basic rendering of what we need to understand to survive. But if you want to use your consciousness to push it further, you can do that and observe more of the world around you, which when I heard that, like that part of my brain that handles like mediumship and psychic stuff, it was like hitting the jackpot. It was like somebody put into perspective what I never could. And it was so neat. So is Matrix real? Yeah, I think so.
I like that part where you say your brain putting in perspective what your body needs to survive.
Yeah. You don't need to perceive ghosts to survive. Your brain doesn't need that. So it's junk information, right?
I like that.
I mean, it made sense. I'm not saying it's perfect. There's probably flaws in that, but for the basic understanding of this, that it made really good sense to me.
There's flaws in everything we do, Scott. There's flaws in the fact that we're out here talking to something that died.
Yeah, true story.
There's flaws in everything. What's true? What's real anymore?
I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
A few months ago, you didn't believe there were UFOs flying around.
Or aliens.
Neither did I, until Chris convinced me to go out at 1:30 in the morning and look up at the sky.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I've been seeing them way before that, and I was in the same mindset. especially when I had that experience over at the convent, which had to do with fairies, and I don't believe in fairies whatsoever. It took me
Yes,
3
we
days
do.
to wrap my head around that. And till this day, like I'm still thinking, like, was that real? Was it legit? Did I see something that I wasn't supposed
Fairies
to see?
are real.
Like, how did
Let's
that
not
happen?
let's not play. Fairies are real. So imagine all of these realms that we can't see, right? And every once in a while, one of us falls into the consciousness to be able to perceive it. You see a ghost, you see a manifestation of somebody, you see a shadow figure, you see a light anomaly you can't explain, you see some lights in the sky that you can't explain. But those things are there all the time. Imagine that. And everywhere. It's not just here. It's everywhere that there's space things exist like that. So um you know, those fairies exist somewhere, and maybe they can perceive us pretty well, but we can't see them. So that's real weird, right? So let's not poke at the fairies. Fairies are cool. They're good. Every time we say something bad about fairies around here, something bad happens to a car. So we love fairies, everybody.
Hey, we love Tinkerbell. You know, I will say this, man. You talking about manifestation. I was just talking to Howie the other day, and you know, I was investigating, and I wasn't even meaning to investigate. I was waiting on my tour guide to finish up. Courtney, my daughter, and I was all at Miller Clater. I was like, you know what? I got my recorder on me. I got a few pieces of equipment. Let's just do some investigating while I was in there. And all of a sudden, I smelled a heavy smell of tobacco. I can't call it cigarettes because it didn't smell like a normal cigarette. It smelled like just burning
Piped.
tobacco. What's
Yeah,
that?
pipe tobaccos.
Kind
Probably
of.
that pipe tobacco.
Oh my God. Look who's in here, Scott. You're about to get harassed for real. Naya Elliott.
Oh, nope. Please see yourself out to the nearest exit, young lady. This is not
I
a
will
ladies'
shout
night.
out our youngest team member. We have Naya, aka Boom Booms, aka Elmo, our youngest team member. My daughter is in the house. Welcome, Naya. It's the first time I've ever seen her pop up in here as a watcher, viewer.
Yeah.
But
It's first time.
yeah, it's the first time I've seen her as a viewer. But I
It's
smelled.
definitely Scott.
But it's funny she popped in here because I just mentioned her name, but the room filled up with the smell of burning tobacco, and it wasn't quite pipe tobacco; it just smelled like burning tobacco. Wasn't quite a cigarette, wasn't quite a cigar, just tobacco. And all of a sudden, the room fills up with fog. So I immediately pull out my UV light, and you couldn't even see in front of you. It was just so foggy. Smoke. I don't really want to use the word smoke, just fog. And
Right.
then all of a sudden it dissipates, goes away. Courtney starts snapping pictures. All of a sudden there's a face in the picture. It's a clear as day face. And I have to send it to you. It's a clear as day top hat with a headband around the hat. And there's a face, eyes, nose, mouth, clear as day. And I'm like, man, manifestation. Crazy.
There's
That's
actually a
right.
name for that. There's a name for that specific smell when you're investigating. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they call it like olfactory apparition. And that's usually a term that's used for actually experiencing the smell of tobacco while you're investigating. And if you guys look up that term itself, it actually drops down and gives you like a full description of what you're talking about, Sean. And the only reason I know that is because I actually had to look that up over at the video that we're working on for the Rainsworth Lodge over in Gettysburg from when we went there the last time. No, we experienced a similar smell, and that downstairs room that you guys were sleeping in. But it's interesting. It's always interesting getting smells when you're investigating when you're out, especially the rose smell. I've always experienced a lot when I'm in a very old Victorian house or anything for that matter. Always experienced some sort of like a rose perfume or a rose smell in certain types of area of different types of homes. And maybe it's just leading back or you're tapping into that frequency of that time frame when somebody was still living and, you know, still had that perfume or something.
Yeah, smells are very common in that house. Chris, you're coming with Scott when he comes down, right?
I have no idea. When
Oh,
is that?
okay. I don't know. I don't know the date. I don't have Courtney in here.
I don't have my calendar in front of me either. I'm sorry.
September sometime.
September.
Oof.
The last weekend of September.
Last weekend of September. I gotta see. As soon as I'm off, I might be able to make it. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you there in the chat. How are you?
Usually, y'all, I do read comments. However, on these special pop-up shows, we're literally talking about our thoughts that we usually talk on the phone about. This is just 3 investigators spilling out our theories and thoughts for the public. I, however, will pay attention to the comments and put them up there.
I want to talk about more stuff that I've been really like meditating pretty heavy on stuff lately. So like,
thank y'all for tuning in, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Make sure you follow these 2 guys. You're following Supernatural Untold Stories, Officer Chris Mendace, Officer Tight Pants, and you're going to follow Scott the Medium, the Signal Network.
Follow me.
And
I'm all right.
Obviously, yours truly, Hill City After Dark, and on the other side, Paranormal Podcast.
I like Howie's comment. He said he feels left out.
And of course, the Riff Nation Network, our proud sponsors. We love y'all. We can't forget the doctor. I believe your name should be scrolling at the bottom of the thing here.
The doctor, eh?
The Dr. Howie Odell. You should never feel left out, brother. Oh, so I'm here. You won't read my comment. You might have to. Nah, go to bed. But yeah, these comments, y'all probably will not get to read all of them because I do not want to interrupt these 2 gentlemen while they're speaking.
Yeah, but, you're not interrupting.
But I will try to post all of them. I will try to post them. They will see them if they acknowledge them. This show's a little different than our Tuesday show. Again, these are just our thoughts. Feel free to comment your opinion on them. I'll try to address some of them. Courtney called you, a.k.a. the Cookie Monster, Scott.
Yeah.
And I do want to take a second to shout out Daryl Paulette because, Scott, while you're here, if you have time, I would like to try to get to Clover Hill Village. That is one hell of a location as well. Chris, if you come with him. Clover Hill Village, and he has the Appomattox County Jail as well. Both locations I've investigated, both locations I've had a crazy amount of activity at. So it's great. Both of them are great. So great places. Oh my gosh.
Is there a story about that place you just said? What'd you say, Clover Hill?
Clover Hill is that. So the Appomattox, the Civil War.
Is there a story that anybody can specifically back up about somebody taking a cannonball to the head, really specifically? Is there a story that they tell about that?
At Clover Hill, I'm not sure directly at Clover Hill Village, but I believe there is one at Appomattox. Somewhere in that area. Clover Hill sits about a mile from the actual surrender ground where Lee surrendered to Grant.
Okay.
To end the Civil War. There was literally a battle all in that area where Clover Hill sits.
Huh. Okay. All right. Don't tell me anything else. Just wanted to say that I got a weird impression when you said it. So,
yeah, that's literally where the war ended. Is right in that area.
Crazy.
But I will tell you this, and Daryl's in here, so I'm not making this up. They literally hear cannon fire just about every time there's an investigation there.
So that's crazy, right? Because that's the first thing that I could tune in from, you just saying the name, right to cannons. It was weird.
Yeah, Cody, I don't know. Cody's wife was in here. I don't know if she's still listening or not, but they just investigated Clover Hill, and the first thing they heard when they got out of the car was cannon fire. I don't know if Robin is still in here or not. I've seen her earlier.
I see.
For some reason, Nia and Courtney are
I'm busy.
Nia and Courtney are trolling you for some reason.
I know. They want me to come over there.
They do. They've been talking about you for like the last. Once Naya found out you were coming over, she asked for a poster of you to hang on her wall that's autographed. So can you please get a poster of you to hang on Naya's wall that's autographed? He's been asking for it forever. It's like, can Scotty please?
Yo, your dad is roasting you so hard right now. This happens when you come in a chat with us.
That's literally what Naya asked me. She said, "Hey, Dad, can you get Scotty to please send me a poster of him and autograph it so I can hang it on my wall?"
Oh, hold on. Wait, let me show you.
Oh, look, he's got his TikTok live banner in the background. You see that?
Better. Hold on.
See that?
Let me make sure I hold it up right. I'm not gonna. Oh yeah, this is cool. How about this thing? Look, oh, here we go. It's the Phantom Forensics blanket. And it's got me and Dalen.
Yep, she wants it.
Yeah, you can hang this up. It's huge, or you can snuggle with it. It's really comfortable. I'll bring it with me.
But you got to autograph it. You and Chris need to autograph it.
Okay. We can all autograph it.
Yep, that's all she's been saying. I can't wait to see Uncle Scotty and Chris to come on down here.
I get it. I understand. We are fun. We're funny and fun.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
So let's get back to the paranormal, y'all.
Yeah, let's go.
So we were talking frequency. I believe that what we're dealing with is definitely riding on frequency. Definitely riding on energy. September 25th. There it is.
September 25th. Join
I don't think we ever got the creepy blankets. She said gift her the creepy blanket.
I didn't get it.
We never got them. No.
That's all right. I will print off a picture of Scott for you to sign and hang on your wall.
You got it. There you go.
I will Photoshop Chris in there with it. I will get y'all to sign it.
Just screenshot this whole video right now.
Yeah, I'll take myself out of it, but she sees me.
You're the main one. Yeah, put signatures underneath of every single one of them.
Funny how she stopped commenting.
So what's up out there? What do you guys want to talk about out there with this whole frequency thing? Frequency, light, vibration. What's that about? So some more like things that I've been thinking about are like what's the word? Basically getting rid of chaos in your life in order to be more happy and get rid of like the stuff that is really in your way. So that you can attain like more happiness.
That is literally what I did my Sunday affirmation on TikTok. And that is literally what they asked me to speak about was how do you let go of hate? Somebody literally asked me that, and I explained to them that it takes energy to hate somebody, and they can literally control you by you allowing them to feel that energy.
Yeah.
If they see you and you have an emotion or an emotional reaction to that, that's them controlling you,
right?
And it gets in your way. It will them if you're bothered by seeing them, that will get in your way. And that even carries over to your investigation. That's what I was teaching the public last night. That if you come to an investigation and you have a bad work day on your mind or a problem, that's going to interfere with your investigation.
Yeah,
and I'm guilty of that. I've had that happen before.
So
that's why you should go in there like clean mind, like clean thought.
Yeah.
I'm weird, man. Every time I go to an investigation, this is going to sound crazy here live, but I take a shower before and after the investigation. I don't know why, but like the shower just always helps me clear my mind out.
Yeah, gets rid of all the clutter.
Yeah. It's weird, but something.
Shower's good for white noise, relaxation, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But that's kind of one of my rituals before I go investigate and kind of get myself level headed before I investigate.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
what's some advice you would give? Somebody just had a crappy work week. wife's cheating on them.
You're not doing any work if your significant other is doing that. Not good work anyway.
You know, you had a bad day, you know, you got into an argument with somebody, your investigation starts that night. What's y'all's best way to clear your head? You know, you mentioned the shower. That's my ritual as well, Chris. Yep. Cleanliness is the closest thing to godliness, in my opinion. But what's the next step? Get out the shower. How do you clear your mind?
That's basically, I mean, I do it in the shower. Like, honestly, a lot of times I'll sit there and just, I'll sit there with hot water and just relax for a bit, kind of relax your body. And then it's weird because I'll go from hot to cold and then just finish the shower off cold water, but brings you back.
Word.
Water's clear. Good moods and bad moods act as an attractant to what is a location. Negative energy will attract negative. Positive energy. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know,
see, and that's
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go. Go ahead.
Well, I try to tell people that, you know, these spirits, all they have to really go on is your energy when you're trying to communicate with them. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but vibration and energy, when you walk into these locations, and even Ed speaks on this, a lot of times it's teleconnect. They know when you're coming. And so when you walk in there and you're bringing this negative vibration in there, they can even choose not to communicate with you with that.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to clear that, you know, no matter what it is. And sometimes even backing out of an investigation does it better than going in there and trying to do it. You know, I've Exchange Hotel, prime example, got very little out of that investigation just because my mind wasn't clear doing it. I would book it again if I didn't have such a negative experience with the people who run it. Mm-hmm. And I'll say that publicly now. I don't care. But and that's nothing on y'all. But if I didn't have such a negative experience with the people who run that place, I would definitely 10 out of 10 book it again, because I wish I could redo that. But I was having a bad day prior to that and didn't get much at all out of that investigation just because I was in a bad mental state before that investigation, and did not properly clear my head before I did it. And I learned very quickly you can't do that. Rookie mistake.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Do you guys get stuff before or after you investigate? Like do you get stuff prior to getting to the location, or do you tend to get stuff with the investigation?
Oh, you mean like psychically?
Either psychically or like even interactions. Like for me, like I always tend to get different type of activity that starts picking up around my house and pretty much anywhere that I go that has something to do with the location that I'm going to. I usually don't know that right off the bat till after the investigation is over. So I've had it happen. Yeah, I've had it happen for St. Albans. St. Albans, we had a really interesting experience happen at my house, which I was able to match with that location. It was an information that we got right off the bat as we pulled into the property of literally the same thing I experienced at my house prior to getting there. And there's been like the doll's house. I kept seeing out of the corner of my eyes some like a very specific female appearing near anywhere I would go around the house. And this started happening like a week prior to going to the location. Mm-hmm. And little did I know it had to do with that location itself. But for me, a lot of things happen prior.
I've only had one thing like that happen ever, where something physically happened that was like an oh crap moment. I was going to visit the Hinsdale house with a couple friends of mine and a guy from work, and it's me, the guy from work, and like 4 or 5 other cops. We're sitting in our report room before we're leaving the building for the day. The lights are on, the computers are on, and basically we're just chit-chatting, and the guys are like, so where are you going? And I'm like, oh, we're going to this really creepy house called the Hinsdale house. and I said, there's rumors that the house even sometimes knows you're coming. And as the words left my mouth, the entire room, all of the lights and the computers just shut off simultaneously in that room. Just that room, not the rest of the building, just that room. All the computers, all the lights just off. Everybody, except for me, jumped up and skedaddled right out of there because they were like, "Oh my God, that can't be real." And it happened. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
Man, that's wild.
That's interesting, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
did you know at the time, like, did you know it was for that place you were going to?
I knew I was going there. Yeah, that's why I was telling them the story, but I didn't know that was going to happen. That was crazy. That was wild. And then
I'll tell you what.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, unfortunately for me, when I got there, nothing was going on for me. But I did have one of the coolest experiences there, like that nobody could put their finger on. So, for anybody who doesn't know, when I do psychic work, I use peppermint oil. It helps me breathe and stuff like that. I even have my own brand of peppermint oil. So I use that a lot when I do my psychic work, and I have it in my bag a lot. So at the Hinsdale house, I had not used any yet, and I was just doing a walk through the place and checking it out. And I went from the upstairs down, and when I came downstairs, I could smell like the smell of peppermint in the whole kitchen area. And I said to my friends I was with, I was like, "Did you guys use my peppermint oil?" And they were like, "No, why?" And I was like, "Well, it stinks like peppermint oil down here." And nobody else could smell it but me. And then when I checked for my peppermint oil, it wasn't even in the house. It was still out in the car. So it was really strange. And come to find out that one of the claims there is that I guess one of the women loved the smell of like Vapo Rub, which has a very similar pepperminty smell. So we think that might have been what it was.
Huh.
Over there at the old Hinsdale.
My one and only time that I ever investigated the Hinsdale house, I got in an accident on my way there.
What?
And I explained the accident to the people I was investigating there with after I got to the location. And they explained to me, I guess somebody, I think it was the son of the guy that used to live there, died in an accident. The accident was the same exact way that my accident occurred on my way to that location.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure it was the son or somebody along those lines. But it was interesting because the accident was very weird and unavoidable. It was almost like both cars had a magnet to each other, and they were like just attracted to each other. No matter what either one of us did, we couldn't avoid it.
They were just going to hit each other, huh?
Yeah.
Almost like it was predetermined to happen.
Yes. So, I'll explain it to you. We're headed. It was a 5-day investigation, 5 different locations I was doing for like an entire week. I had the kids with me. I had Kelly with me. We're heading over to, because at the end of the trip, we're going to go over to Niagara Falls, check Niagara Falls out. So we're driving through Pennsylvania, and this car is entering our lane, comes up to a stop sign. Well, he hits the brakes. He couldn't stop. He continued to go into my lane of travel, and I had enough time to avoid it. And I did try to avoid it, but like it literally felt like both of our cars had like some sort of magnet that just attracted both cars to each other.
Whoa.
And I mean, luckily, like the accident happened because if I didn't hit the car, he would have definitely gone over a 10-foot ditch or like dip on the side of the road that would have just dropped the car straight down.
The fact that your car was in the way saved his life?
In a way, yeah. Yeah. If we didn't hit him, he would have just continued to go down a 10-foot drop.
So I was just going to ask, do you like, because I'm thinking, guys, I can't tell you how much I've been thinking about life lately, but like moments where time shifts happen, where timelines collide, that seems to me like a moment where timelines collide. Maybe in another timeline, you didn't gas up the car 10 minutes earlier and you just kept going, in that you never avoided that, or you avoided that accident and that guy went off the side, or he hit somebody else and it was a deadly crash, right? So like, were you in the right moment in this universe to stop that collision from happening? Or stop a possible death from happening? It's pretty crazy.
And like I said, I mean, if our cars didn't hit each other, like if my car didn't hit him in the right way that it hit him, he would have definitely gone over. Which was
crazy.
and normally like I would be pretty pissed, like getting out of the car, like obviously after an accident, especially with the kids in the car and everything. But
Yeah.
I was the most calmest I've ever been. Just got out, like, yo, dude, like, you all right? He's like, yeah, it's totally my fault. Like, he automatically like owned up to it immediately. But
Yeah, he's like,
it was,
glad I'm not dead. Thank God.
yeah. He had one of those old school, like, it was like a GT, like the 3000 GT Nissan, like the old school Nissan, like real small cars.
Okay.
Tires were extremely bald. Like, it was a mess, but he was all right. We were all right. My
That's
truck
good.
wasn't totaled. It's like I could still finish the trip and go through with the trip, even though it was damaged. But
It's all right. At least you guys were still safe and you could continue on your events. That's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a weird thing to happen on the way to the house.
Yep.
In another timeline.
And same thing with you, man. Like we got there and had nothing happen. We had no interaction, no activity, no nothing whatsoever. Which was also interesting because I heard a lot of stories about the Hinsdale house and I hear how active it is. And, just the one time we go there, spend 10 hours at that location and like nothing at all. Not even like one sound.
And again, I not say anything bad there because I know people I know that have been there and said it had crazy things happen. That's the interesting thing about the paranormal, right? Like places could have a great reputation and then you get there, it could be a little flat. And I'm not going to pick on just the Hinsdale. It's everywhere. It's anywhere that has paranormal stuff. It just could be flat that night. That's life, So like, where were we? So that's a really interesting thing that happened. And other than that, I've never really had a location reach out to me prior, unless it was me prior, like going to the location psychically to check it out. Or that's not always true either. There's this place called Miss Franny's Victorian Party House, or is it Miss Fanny's? And the craziest thing happened. I had this dream that I was standing out in front of this old Victorian house, and this elderly woman called me in up the porch and into the house. She brought me in the house and she showed me to the parlor on the right side of on the right side, and it had this like old Victorian style couch there. And she said, "Come on in here and have a seat." And she said, "I'm sorry for all the noise. This house is just so crowded with spirits." And I was like, "Okay." And then I like wake up out of the dream. And like a day or two later, I get a call from a friend of a friend that wants to know if I want to go do a thing for Inside Edition at a haunted house. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool." That was like my first like time somebody asked me to do something professionally, so it was cool. So I said yes, and I take my buddy Patrick, who I was ghost hunting with a lot at the time, to this place in New York called Miss Franny's Victorian Party House. Really cool place. And as we get there, we pull up and I was like, "Pat," I was like, "this is the house from my dream, dude." So I wrote a bunch of stuff down in the pad for my dream. And I was like, if you go in there and this is here, the couch is here, this is where the parlor is. If you're walking up the steps, there's red carpeting and these like brass bars that go across and I was like giving them crazy details of this house. Right. So he goes in with the lady who owns the house and the producers of the show, and they do a walk around and get some history. And when Pat comes out, Pat is like the hardest dude to like break when it comes to like paranormal stuff. He's like a real, you got to see it to believe it kind of dude. So he comes out and he's got this big goofy smile on his face. And he's like, "Dude, how did you know so much about the inside of this house?" And I was like, "Because I saw it all in this dream." So as it turns out, Miss Franny's Victorian Party House, the house the name is named after Franny. She used to have like Victorian mediumship parties at her house at this place. So she would have psychics and mediums come to the house and have seances and stuff all the time. And it was like really well known for that. So in my dream, before I even know I'm going to get this gig, this woman reaches out to me and brings me to her house, just like she would have done in real life. And then I find myself in real life there a couple weeks later doing this really cool, like paranormal investigation there. So there you go.
That's cool. Especially being able to see it prior to going there and having, especially like getting that validation after the fact is always kind of exciting. It's an exciting feeling, just knowing that you saw something into the future. I wouldn't even say into the future. Is at that time were you seeing it into the future, or were you seeing it as if it was like still in that current era?
Yeah, in the dream, it was like
stories just hold you for some reason. Like when I'm listening to his stories, I'm just like
me. My stories? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're good, man. They're good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, my wife says I go on too long, but I like detail.
No, keep going.
Yeah, you like me. You like
detail.
They're important. So, so yeah, like it felt like it was like in the past, like she was inviting me in the past. So it was really cool. Ironically, Native American culture would be called a Wendigo. A cannibal exile from the tribe for eating human flesh. I don't know what you're talking. Me? Talking about me? I don't eat people.
He's got like a thread going. I'm posting his comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's talking about. Go ahead, Chris.
Let me ask you guys this question: have you guys ever experimented with a picture frame or picture films?
Like to try to influence what comes out on like a Polaroid?
Right, but like just having a regular old school film just enclosed in the original container. So there was an old he was like a paranormal investigator that did this like back in the day. He would do and hold seances, and at the beginning of the seance, they would take a lockbox and throw an actual film into a lockbox and then do their seance. And then after the seance, they would develop the photographs. And a lot of times they would get different things to appear in the photographs based off of what the seance that they were doing was coming through. And this is something I've been wanting to try. And maybe next time we're together, we can try something like that and see.
Yeah, we should definitely try. That sounds cool.
Speaking of that,
I think the guy's name was like Hamilton or something like that. He used to do that.
I heard of that. And speaking of that, I've been using a Polaroid camera at my latest investigations, and a kid showed up on my public last night with a Polaroid camera, and I loved it. And the reason why is because her very first investigation was with me, I think 3 years ago at Old City Cemetery, which is where I met Chris. And then last night she shows up with a Polaroid, and it just made me smile. I think she's 19 now. So I shouldn't call her kid. She's grown now. But when I met her, when I met her, I feel old, man. When I met her, she was a kid, and I'm like, and she shows up with a Polaroid, and she's got equipment now. She's got the bare minimum, which it's like she showed up investigating just like me, which was cool. Not saying I'm a great investigator, but it's like she absorbed everything that I was teaching her during our public, and watching her and her dad show up and literally wander around investigating the same way I would was just a beautiful thing. And
that's nice.
But watching her use the Polaroid camera, just the old school style of investigating, to see that out of a young person, I thought was very beautiful.
For sure.
Because you don't see that no more, especially out of young people. I mean, my daughter, watching her investigate, she doesn't use any equipment. She has access to anything she wants to use, and here we go. I thought she was gone. I haven't seen her comment in like an hour.
That's hilarious.
She's back. Guess who's back?
But watching her investigate, she doesn't use any equipment at all. She actually has been working on her skills that you talked to her about.
Good.
And she's actually gotten pretty good at it. I think that's what she's really looking forward to when you come down.
Excellent.
Other than the autographed picture of you.
Yeah, I'll make sure I bring that. Don't worry. Be my headshot.
But I think Chris bringing up the photograph, I think that's really cool. Another thing I really like are those Victorian, oh crap, what are they? Tent type? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, tintypes. I think that's what Sarah Blake was talking about. The old writing slate method they used to way back when in seances.
Sarah, is that what you're talking about?
I think so.
So I found some information on what I was talking about here.
All right, let's hear it.
You guys want me to read it? It says the paranormal investigator most famously associated with conducting seances using old photographic film is Thomas Glendinning Hamilton, often cited as T.G. Hamilton of Winnipeg. Hamilton was a physician and a respected member of the Manitoba Legislative Assembly who became deeply involved in spiritualism after the death of his son. Beginning in 1919, he and his wife Lillian conducted highly documented seances that became legendary in paranormal research. And the seance that he was specifically known for was this one, which was called it was the seance conducted in a controlled room filled with cameras, often using old photographic plates and films to capture alleged paranormal manifestation. Producing ectoplasmic photographs. Images show ghostly faces, shapes, and veil-like substance emerging from the mediums.
Mediums. Guys, I just want to tell you right now, I have never had any goo emerge from my face, ears, nostril, mouth, any of that stuff. Sorry.
You sure? You positive?
Like 99% sure. Like,
well, you know where that came from.
Mostly.
That came from that Victorian area where they would stuff stuff in their nose.
Yeah, they'd want like physical mediumship.
Yeah, regurgitate and all that stuff.
Blech.
Right now, both of my lights have died, and they were fully charged before we started, and these lights last for a very long time.
Chris's house is haunted. I knew it.
Yeah, Chris, you always got stuff going on at your house.
Dead. Just like my life.
Let's go into that though, since we're bringing up lights.
Yeah, what's
Scott,
up?
This is a conversation Chris and I have had a lot.
Yeah,
we don't really ever talk about this stuff though on a public platform.
Okay,
but I don't know if Chris has talked to you about it, but Ed Odell and I speak about it all the time, and it's a light theory. Do you think that lights affect the other side? Can certain lights manifest things? Can certain lights hurt things?
Okay, everybody, buckle in.
I'll give you my thoughts, and I'm sure Chris has a lot. Chris and I think a lot alike on stuff.
Buckle in, everyone.
Yeah. We just tried this out on the last video we just filmed.
You guys are gonna have to do your own research. I'm gonna bring you half of what I remember, because that's how my brain works. So basically, there's this gentleman who found out that if he were to use DMT and stare at lasers, that he could actually see code inside the lasers. Now, of course, many people were like, that's crazy. It's just because you're taking a mind-altering substance that would happen. If somebody else does it, they're not going to see code or writing inside of the laser on the wall. So they did it again with somebody else. This is a couple years ago. By now, somewhat of like 5,000 people have tried this experiment, and they have all reported that while using DMT and looking at lasers hitting walls, that there is some sort of language encoded into the laser. So basically, what they're doing is they have some software engineer using Apple Vision Pro, the goggles. And all of these people who are having these experiences are talking about the symbols that they're seeing, and they're trying to create like a lexicon of what all of the different symbols mean. And here's what's interesting. So they've even tried like giving people false information to make them see things in the light when they do this. So one of the times they told somebody that they would see animals like giraffes and frogs and birds, and the guy was like, I'm not seeing any of that. It's all things that look like ancient Sanskrit and that kind of stuff, right? So that is a source of light, and it is literally the code that is written into the world that is around us. It's like revealing the matrix, right? So for us, light, I think inside of here somewhere there is light that is being accompanied by like, I don't know how to explain this, like the science of light and the speed of light were being powered by all one source of light, and it's coming here and it's hitting us. And that's what we're experiencing. And then there is this other part that is like the spiritual part, that is the soul that is attached to that gives us all of our personality. And I don't know, it's a big whole thing, but it all starts with the fact that in reality, these people are figuring out that we can see code written into lasers, if we're looking at them. And that this is something else. I just had this thought before I went to sleep last night was, you guys heard of light language? Have we talked about that before?
We haven't, no.
Okay, so light language, just for like anybody who doesn't know what it is, I'm going to give you my understanding of it. Light language is a language spoken by some human beings. They basically channel other beings or entities from the universe or from other realities or realms. And basically, these different vibrations and frequencies of sounds that come through these channels, these human beings, they're bringing light language, can have different effects on us as people. I have been privy to this quite a few times, and in my experience, light language does a lot of powerful things to our soul. So I'm thinking there is a light language that is a sound that we can hear and make if we're in tune. And then there is a physical light language that we're finding with lasers against the wall. So I think that there is some sort of light language that exists. And if we understand that, we are going to be able to unlock who we are as people in this reality. Light.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Your daughter's calling me pasty. She has to go to bed now.
She should have been in bed.
You should have been in bed, young lady. I'm explaining the galaxy, and you're worried about my pastiness? Come on.
That's the attention span of teenagers.
I know. I'm giving you the keys to the universe here, kid.
So, like, I stopped investigating with IR over a year ago. I rarely use it anymore. I don't. I just stay away from it. Me personally, I will not use it. I will either use ambient lighting. I don't do the dark no more. I don't see a need for it. I investigate during the day now a lot. And some people, if I go live, I get the trolls that say, "Oh, you're scared of the dark now. Y'all brothers don't like haunted places at night." I get all that, but Chris was literally in the cemetery with me at like 2:00 in the morning. So it ain't that. To me, there's no time that spirits will come out. In fact, if you look at case documentation of when most hauntings happen, it was early in the morning or midday is when people were having the worst time with spirits. But I noticed that when I use ambient lighting or a green light, more things will manifest or happen during those times.
Yep.
Even purple light. I noticed when I use red light, it kills a lot of activity. Or IR light, not much happens at all.
Right.
Even when you look at things caught on camera, it's never usually with IR lighting. And I question a lot of the evidence people show me on that things do happen on their IR camera. Even like I love military style night vision that has to have some sort of light source for the camera to function. Right. I do not like IR lighting. I have very minimum evidence captured with IR camera. And I even noticed on Chris's, when I watch his content, most of his captures are done with some sort of ambient light source.
The best captures that I've had with IR are actually still photos. It's never been a motion camera with IR. So that's good. Yeah, I think there's something to that. I wonder why.
I think it affects the paranormal world in a negative way. Mm-hmm. Like, look
that's
at
all.
All
right. So that's kind of where I was going back with lasers and code and stuff. So we just recently started using our phones LiDAR system on them in order to map things in our environment that we can't see. The LiDAR is just simply laser. That's all it is. So we realized that the Shanley Hotel, using the LiDAR feature on our phone, that we were mapping in rooms and staircases that no longer existed at the hotel. but we could still see the outline with the LiDAR. So when we are interacting with the world with light, I think that there are things that we absolutely, like I said earlier, our body doesn't need to spend time wasting about a structure that's not there anymore. Because even if like the things that make it up, like, I don't know if there's like photons or something like left behind, just circling where a piece of wood was for 150 years and it's sort of just dangling there or whatever, it's light enough for a laser to hit it and come back. But for us, it makes no difference. So if we walk right through it, it doesn't matter, right? Because it would just pass through us. It's so small. So yeah, I think that there's a lot in the paranormal like that we need to start thinking that way.
And that's the reason why, like, I mean, what do you say, Sean? Probably 2 years now. I've been actually filming my videos with just green lights and red lights is all I've been using.
Well, look what happened. Well, look what happened. You know, it was around that time I stopped using IR. When y'all came to the cemetery, we were getting great evidence already. I told you how active the cemetery was already.
Yeah.
That night y'all came, we didn't use any IR. It was all ambient because y'all were filming. And when we switched to the red, when I was telling you about the light theory that we were already working on, you said, let's try it, let's do it. That was like a weight lifted off me because most investigators who come in aren't going to listen to you. They'll do what they want to do. But Chris was like, hell, let's try it. You know, he was very open. That's how we clicked so easily. He was like, let's do, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, that's how we learn. How do I know that what you do is way better than what I do, or vice versa? We got to learn from each other.
Let me tell you, most people aren't like that.
Yo, that's crazy. Be like that, yo. That's how we learn. That's how we get rid of stuff we don't need.
But Chris was like, let's do it. Come on, let's try. I got 10 lights. Let's do it. So immediately, not only did we get an EVP, it was like a whole, this was not like any other EVP I've ever heard before. This was like somebody else was in the room.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty intelligent. And then to top it off, we ended up interacting with, what was it, Sean? It was a 13-year-old kid.
It was 11, wasn't it?
11, yeah, something along those lines.
Well, and you got to go back. You got to go back. It's documented that 11-year-old boy had passed away there. All right, this is documented.
I did not know right off the bat. I didn't know any of this information.
Yeah, he didn't know.
So we started interacting. We started with the red light. Immediately after switching it to red light, almost everybody in the room started getting sick and had to leave the room. There was something interacting with everybody at the cemetery that caused them to just feel. I think it was either you or somebody else had the feeling of like overwhelming. They were getting too anxious and they just had to walk out. Yeah.
One person had to completely leave the entire building. I was very anxious, which you've investigated with me for a long time, for a while now, and I don't get anxious during the investigation. Courtney was getting anxious. I think I think she was even getting anxious, you know, and she's pretty chill during the investigation.
Everybody started getting jumpy too, like right off the bat, like things were just scaring them. Like,
you got your shirt pulled, you walked through the doorway, got your shirt pulled, switched to green light, and that's when the flashlight, the flashlight had no activity at first. Switched to green light, flashlight was responding, and we had that sucker. It wasn't twisted to the edge so the heat could cut it on. That sucker was like off, and flashlight was popping on, and then it was. Like I said, it wasn't the whole whisper EVP where it's like, it was like a whole kid's voice. Like you could hear the voice. It was in the room with us.
And what was interesting was that the flashlight activity was actually, it was an intelligent response to everything that we were doing.
Really?
Even so, like the way we ended up getting the age, I started counting from one, and one of my questions were like, if you're obviously. I'm going to count from 1 to whatever age you are. As soon as I get to your age, make the flashlight go off. I started counting from like 1, and I kept going. And I got to 11, and as soon as I started going to 12, the flashlight came on. So at first, we were between that 11 and 12 age because we weren't 100% sure if it came on for 11 or if it came on as I was switching to 12. So I ended up doing it 3 more times, and all 3 times I think we ended up it ended up coming on at 11.
Oh wow!
So then we started asking questions: Are you a boy? Are you a girl? And we ended up getting it was a boy. Correct, Sean?
Yeah, and then we got the name. It said Ben. That's what the voice
Right.
said.
Yep. So we at this point we started switching over to interacting with it using the recorder, and we were asking for it to actually let us know when it was ready to interact with the recorder by turning the light on. And as soon as it would turn the light on, we would start recording, and that's when we would get these EVPs.
Okay. Nice.
So it was a little bit of an outside the box thinking for the investigation part of it, but it seemed to be working, and we just kept rolling with it.
Well, then the next part was we took the light outside to the Confederate section of the cemetery. It's 2,000 buried there. It's the same place on a public investigation where somebody on the public had massive K2 activity. There's no reason for the K2 to spike right there the way it does. So she took a picture, and there's a soldier standing at attention in the picture.
Oh, wow.
Full uniform. Well, Chris took the light and set it by the tree, and all of a sudden you see a person and just walk through the light. Like it completely broke the light barrier. And light blacks out, and then you see the person just walk past it. That was insane.
And we had that crazy light up here in the back of it too that looked like a car, and there's no way for a car to get back there.
Yeah, where we were,
like 2 headlights of a car.
Yeah, you can't see a car where you're at in the cemetery.
Yeah.
And then, but that was green light. All green. When we switched to green light, the activity just changed.
Yep.
And
we started experimenting with strobe inside the hospital section.
So that's all frequency, right? So light is just frequency. So the different colors are different frequencies, right? So I wonder, man, maybe we should really start dialing in with some light sensors and seeing what exactly pinpoint frequency of light gets the most activity, or what kind of what we might perceive as positive or negative activity or neutral.
Yeah, so we the times we've been doing it, we seem to get a lot of interaction, like neutral interaction with green light. Anytime we use red, for whatever reason, it's different in every person, but it seems to cause more of a paranoia in a way. It causes people to become paranoid and think that they're hearing things. Yeah, well, that's extremely uncomfortable.
That's interesting because one of the things that we do when we do the Gonsfeld experiment, when we cover our eyes in complete red, we do that so our brain doesn't have a way to make shapes and thoughts with the light that's entering, because the red light, apparently what it does is it overloads those sensors without giving it any information. So it's like staring into a really bright light without it hurting your eyes or giving you any patterns. So then it's up to your brain to give you the patterns. So I wonder if that lends to the frequency of spirit as well, being able to use that for that.
Well, correct. Go back to what was going on in Vietnam when the original night vision goggles,
those crazy goggles,
were red. And when they used those red goggles, the pilots were seeing demons and weird things, and they immediately changed it over to green, and they weren't seeing that no more. Pilots were shooting and blowing stuff up, and a lot of people don't know about that experiment, but pilots were shooting stuff and shooting missiles. Like, what the hell are y'all doing? They're like, y'all didn't see that demon flying through the air? We're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I heard a guy on the Sean Ryan show. He said he was sleeping in like some kind of like hut off the ground, and he woke up at night and he had those kind of NVGs on, and he saw something inside the hut that was like bigger than a man. He kind of described it as kind of gnarly, and he used his 12 gauge that he was sleeping next to shoot this thing, and he shoots it a couple times and it jumps back out the window and takes off. He runs down to go find it, and as he's passing people, other soldiers and stuff, he's like, did you guys see that? And they're like, see what? But he's saying he can see it with these things on, and he chased it out into the woods and it was gone.
Yeah, there's something with that red. It's not good, but that's why they changed it to the green. It's something the government knew at that time that we don't.
Probably better off.
I definitely think And I definitely think red has something to do with what we do with paranormal.
For sure.
But going back to the light experiment, by the way, when y'all come, we possibly have access to another cemetery at night. By the way, hint, hint. It'll be a whole new one. Just saying.
That's cool.
Just saying.
Sounds good to me.
Whole new light experiment.
So I don't know if you remember, Scott. We actually tried some portion of this light experiment when we were on the Pine Barrens.
Yeah, on the Pine Barrens. Yeah, you set up the red light, and we did some. Yeah, and you had some really interesting results there. You had somebody manifest that you were able to see, and it's very strange.
Yeah, we got pictures of that too, which is actually pretty cool. And we'll post that on the video once the video's done. But it was interesting too. So like we had the red light up in the middle of the woods in this area where in Nong's where we thought that, we got led to during, I guess, our daytime investigation while we were there. We ended up getting led to this one specific area, and then we came back to it later on at nighttime. But if you think about it, I was using a green light on a camera when I was recording, and then the red light. And while I was standing next to the green light, I was actually able to see a fog forming in the woods, which Scott could not see. So it was kind of like the opposite. Like I was able to see something that he wasn't able to see happening live in front of us, standing next to each other.
Yep.
And I was actually able to see this thing like manifesting itself with my naked eye prior to taking pictures of it. But at the same time, Scott's sitting right there next to me. He's not able to see what I'm seeing, which was kind of weird. What's your thought on that?
It's just like, bro, it's just like how when we had our last encounter in Pennsylvania, where you saw a ring of light in the sky and I saw a doorway come off the ground. There is just something we both recognize when there's something in the space, but we see it differently. And I don't know why that is, but I have a feeling that the more and more we investigate and are completely, and for anybody taking notes, Chris and I can be completely honest and open with each other with no ego in between, because we're trying to figure out what's happening and why it's happening. So I have no idea why you were able to see some of the stuff that I wasn't. But there's a reason for it. And that's part of why we're doing this, to try to figure out that stuff.
And it goes back also to the whole just time difference with that one experience we had at the church, where I just sort of like traveled through the camera, and the time difference was lost.
Skipped. It was crazy. So like
it just
that's just what we're just trying to figure that stuff out and why it's happening, how it's happening. And I was telling the story. I was on Schrader's podcast the other day, and I was telling him the story, and he brought up a really terrifying point. Like, there were times where the time manipulation was happening for one of us and not the other, right? Like when I don't have any recollection of the EVP session inside the truck. You didn't have recollection of me telling the story. And then we had like the weird time manipulation while we were driving. So Dave said it best. He's like, so not only does it seem that they have some sort of time manipulation, but they could single each of you out individually and manipulate the time and space around you, and nobody else would notice either. And I was like, that's exactly what was happening.
Or
so
Scott,
it made it even more confusing. What's that?
Can you control time and don't know it?
My guy, if I could control time, let me tell you something. We'd be putting a screeching halt to it right now. We fix some problems. We would fix some problems in this world before we move forward. I wish. I think I have a unique perception of time. I have very bad time blindness. So for anybody who doesn't know what that means, it just means like if you tell me I have 5 minutes, I have no way of regulating that without an actual clock. Like you tell me 5 minutes and 20 minutes will go by and I won't even realize it. So like that kind of stuff will happen. And what actually happened to us is it was like even more exaggerated than normal. So like it's so strange that we had such weird time dilation stuff happen in different ways. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
I got two questions.
Let's hear 'em.
Number one, going back to light, I love UV lighting. I've been using that a lot on my investigations. I love it, and I swear by it. UV creates energy, and I've had more evidence since I've used UV lighting than anything. I want your thoughts on that. And the next thing I'm going to ask you, both of you, is: does time really exist?
There's some UV light right there. I like UV lighting.
I love UV. I've got a
Ever since
camera.
was a kid.
I think Chris has seen my camera setup. I've got UV lights going all across top of it, and I love it.
We
I think
actually
it's a
had some
good
crazy
tool.
experience using UV light.
That's
Actually,
right. In the blacksmith shop, right?
Yep. Yeah. It
That's
was you
when
and I,
some weird stuff happened. Yeah.
and Scotty and I used it in the tunnels too.
Yeah, we did.
We use UV light in the tunnels.
UV is great. It creates energy, and I've had nothing but crazy stuff happen with it. But does time really exist? And how do you feel?
Nah, time just exists for us because we have a beginning and an end. But truly, time does not exist at all. It's just it just is. You know,
Space.
yeah, it just is. And our consciousness is the only thing that allows us to even have the concept of time. I was listening to it. I've been doing a lot, guys, a lot of digging, a lot of reading, a lot of listening to podcasts, different points of views of all kinds of this stuff. And somebody said something I had never thought of. We're the only animals on the planet that can perceive our own death. So animals, although don't want to die, they don't think about death. It just is something that happens if they get into, either they live a life and they die, or they get, into something and they get eaten or whatever. So they don't have time. They just grow and they die. Right. So yeah, time, just a man-made concept. Yeah. Right there. Yeah. Says best.
Ah, look,
Yeah.
I got it. But
very good.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But that's time in a linear fashion. But I do think that there are different timelines, like what we were just talking about earlier when Chris had his car accident and created a branch of time where that guy got saved and wasn't upset that he had a car accident because he didn't go off a cliff, right? And there's another timeline where Chris went by there 10 minutes earlier and that guy went off the cliff because nobody was there. So that kind of time seems to exist. And I think that we can come in and out of these timelines by sort of manifesting them. If you say something enough times and you believe it or want it enough, it takes a hold and you intervene into that space and time and you push through it. And it's kind of how I've been feeling lately. Like I pushed myself into a timeline I wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
How about you,
Well,
Chris?
also CERN got shut down. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Oh my God. Yeah. Those folks.
Damn right it does.
Let me tell you something. You CERN scientists,
just like that.
I'm not going to blame everything on CERN, but I do think that there are things happening there that we don't understand. But I also think that the government has, like, the U.S. government, but like the overall world government, the people who are like really at the top and understand everything. I think they have a lot to go of. They have a lot of knowledge of things that's going on that they haven't given to us yet, in the form of like, yes, disclosure, but like other things as well.
Keyword
in the universe.
Key words you said there: world government. I don't think. Let me shut up. As a veteran, you are too, and we may disagree on this statement, but I do think we have a world government. I don't think there is a U.S. government. I think
so right. I think
there is a world government. I don't think that there is such thing as a United States government.
So So it's like this. They are structured like we are our own sovereign country for sure. And if anybody messes with us, we'll turn on them and do what we got to do, right? But as far as the world economy and the world just trying to get along as peacefully as it can with the most greedy people at the top, they are working together to fill their pockets, but they need us to be in line for that to happen. So
everybody's working together.
Right. They cause a little bit of discourse within us in order to keep us fighting so we don't wake up to them being a pain in our ass overall. We keep going to work and generating money for their bigger economy at the top, and they just keep us fighting. I mean, that's all there is to it. So there is that bigger and they don't want us to wake up to the fact that there is certainly other dimensions. That the stuff around you doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean jack all the things that you own, because this is like the base model of your life. After this, you go on to bigger realms and better things, and this is all just baloney. It's the day
You
being
don't
born.
actually own anything. That's the crazy
Yeah,
part.
I know. None of this stuff.
Yeah.
Not one thing. That fancy house, that fancy car, job, all of it. None of it matters. It
Yep.
just for what, 75 years or so, if you're lucky.
If you're
Who gives a
lucky.
crap?
But
Who
even
gives a
then,
crap?
pay your house off and miss that taxes. Miss them taxes. Pay that car off.
But you know what matters? You know what matters, everybody? Kindness. Kindness matters 100%. It's the currency of the spirit world. Kindness, and I know, love. I know, hard to hear from me, but it is. It's the truth. And the older I get, the more I realize that is the absolute truth.
I'm glad you're talking about this. So, on at least on this platform, on this network, and we can talk about anything. And it does relate to what we do when we go out. And kindness, I was just having a talk about this with my dad. That's like a lost art. There's people who literally will take time out of their day to get on the internet and try to ruin somebody else's day.
Yeah.
There's people out here who will literally try to start something with you just to give you a bad time, a hard time, or a bad time. There's people who won't. I'll watch younger people and some older people will let the door slam on an older person walking into a door or walking into a store, or won't help an older person carry their groceries.
Yeah.
I just think to myself, how did we get there? It takes 2 seconds just to hold the door. So
because too many people are too busy thinking about, and guys, don't get upset people listening. This is true. You're too busy thinking about you instead of thinking about the other person, which is, you're like, Scott, it's my parents telling me, that's like, grade school stuff. Right. But listen, we all come from the same point of light. We all came from the same thing. All of us, Sean, Scott, and Chris, and everybody listening right now, we're all the same thing. We're all the same light. We're just put in different bodies, and we're looking at each other, observing each other, right? And we're trying to figure out exactly what it is we are. And the only way to do that is for us to observe each other and find the good stuff in each other, because that's what survives. Well, all of the negative stuff gets pulled away, and sooner or later, all of that stuff is gone. And what's left is the good stuff, the kindness. So when you do something kind for someone else without expecting anything back, that's a true act of kindness to yourself as well. So once people start understanding, the more kind they are to somebody else, the more kind they actually will be to themselves as well. It's such an easy thing, and you could pull that out of any religion in the world, and that is the message that's there.
Yeah.
Right? Treat others as you want to be treated, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because that once you can do that and truly do that with no hate or prejudice in you, you've come to the best part of you, right?
Yeah.
So it's when you're turning inward, it's like you're not being as kind as you could be to yourself, because you're not helping yourself, your fellow man or woman out, right? So, it just gets rid of the bad stuff. And there are souls that are younger, right? There's people who haven't been here as often, and they haven't figured that out yet. I think that I've been here a couple times, and it's taken me in this lifetime. I'm sure I woke up in other lifetimes, but in this one, I woke up a little bit earlier than I have in other ones. And I've realized a lot of things quite early in this adventure versus other times. So you guys, have either one of you felt like you woke up from your other life, and there's like all these other possibilities and realms because of it?
Every day. I tell everybody, I feel like I belong in like the 1920s era. I feel like I'm living my other lifetime now, but originally, like, I mean, literally attracted to anything from the 1920s. It feels more natural to me. It feels like comfortable in a way, I should say, not even natural. Right. It feels like I belong there. That happens all the time. Even like listen to old music, that kind of era music, like it keeps.
There's something about that time that calls back on your soul to you, right? Even though you never lived there.
Right. And then you start getting flashbacks of different things around that era. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you're getting flashbacks of things that maybe you lived through.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Yep. You know what I mean? And on top of that, there's certain things that I know from that era, especially like things that pop up in different sorts of conversations that I have no idea what I'm saying, but it's coming out and it's like legitimate. Like, it's almost like I'm talking about these things like I've lived it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain, but it's something that happens all the time.
What about you, Sean?
You know, everything you're talking about, it makes perfect sense. I don't know how many lifetimes I've lived. I don't know quite as much about that as you do. What I do know is that every day I've just been attracted to history. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's a certain era. It's late 1700s to probably 1870s. And, you know, people always look at me weird because I wear the Civil War hats, and I've always been into that. What's up, John? But, you know, I've always been into that. And I guess what I'm more attracted to is how people carry themselves and how men were men, you know, how people acted, how you know, the generosity of some people. Yes, there were bad times and there were bad things that happened. Yeah. But there's bad things in this era. There's bad things in this generation as well.
Right.
But what I'm just more attracted to how people did things, how people lived. So I do feel like I was in a different area at one point. It could be, if not physically, or if I didn't live it, definitely as to how things were.
Right.
I was raised by a lot of older people. My dad was raised by older people. I had both parents growing up. So, but fortunately, all my grandparents are still alive.
Wow.
So, yeah, I haven't lost anybody close to me, knock on wood. And I was always around my grandparents and my parents, and they were all raised by their parents and grandparents. So I was just around older people. So that's probably naturally why I've always been attracted to old stuff. Even places of investigation. A lot of people will ask me, have you been to this prison or this haunted asylum? And I'm like, I just don't have any interest in it. I don't have any interest in going to the Trans-Alleghenies and the reformatories. I have more interest in going to this house that was built in 18 something or 17 something. The big asylums and stuff like that have no interest to me whatsoever. And it might be because I work in the mental health field for so long, so I know what happened there. I know what went on there. There's nothing a spirit could really tell me of interest there. Let's go to the Civil War hospital. I want to go there. You know, let's go to the Rev War place.
Because there's something about it that speaks to your soul.
Right. There's nothing.
It's interesting to think about that. So, like, Chris, what stuff brings you to want to go investigate something? Because you've brought me to a pretty wide array of places, and there's like not a theme to them. So what's up with you? What do you like?
Honestly, like I said before, I'm attracted to a lot of older house, like Victorian houses, Victorian locations. St. Albans was actually the most interesting one that I've ever been to, regarding into like what I've been attracted to. St. Albans, there was one other location that I was able to investigate once, and then they ended up closing, and that was Greenville or Green Hill Manor. I believe it was Green something Manor. I forget the name of it. But St. Albans particularly, I think I've told this story before, where I was there for 36 hours. We had to play 36 hours to investigate it. And the first night that we were there, we were all sleeping there, like at the time. my first walkthrough of the location, I walked through the entire thing. I got to the grand stairwell in the back, went upstairs, came towards the back corner of it. And as I was walking on the first floor going towards the grand stairwell, I started getting sorts of like quick little flashes. And I didn't pay any mind to it. I just let it be. That same night when I went to sleep, in my dream, I was in that place back when it was still running. I remember looking outside the windows, going outside, looking through the windows, seeing the old school cars parked outside, but it all played back as a movie in like that old vintage, like sepia color, you know what I mean? Like that sepia look to it. And it played back as if it was me walking. Like I saw the nurses, I saw the doctors walking through with their nurse and doctors suits on. I saw people walking with actual suits and big long trench coats and top hats with like, briefcase. It was like I was walking through a very busy like hospital in a way.
Right.
But it brought me back to that time, and just because of that experience alone, I kept wanting to go back and continue to do things. And that was actually one of the locations that started the whole experiences that started occurring prior to going to location. That was the number one place that I ever experienced something so vivid, I should say.
Really?
Like, prior to going to it. And I'll tell you what it was. It was me, and I don't know if you know Paul. Paul and I were getting ready to go there. Paul Dixon. And he came over to my house. We're getting our stuff ready, putting it in a truck, getting ready to leave. And at the time, there was nobody there at the house. And my attic was more of like a storage attic. Like you can go up there, but you couldn't really like fully walk. You know what I mean? It was just low enough to where you can just store stuff. So we literally hear like, I don't know, what sounded like Native American war cry, like that whole sound effect. But then we hear running going across the attic and back, coming across as those war cries were going on. But it sounded like it was just stomping. Well, first of all, you can't really stump up there because it's all studs. And
dude, that's crazy.
Studs and insulation. And there was only certain areas where we had actual plywood down where we can store things. And so immediately I'm like, what the hell was that? Like I ended up grabbing my piece. I go up there, like try to look. I'm like, there's got to be somebody up there. Like there's no way that we heard that, and there not be anything up there.
Right.
So we ended up going up. I went up, checked. Literally you can see it from the steps. Like you can see the entire attic section, and there's nobody up there. Nobody whatsoever. So I think it took us like a 6.5 hour ride going up to St. Albans. And the entire time we're both seeing this like shadowy figure sitting in the back seat of the truck as we're driving up there.
Cow.
And we kept seeing it out of the corner of our eyes. We're like trying to figure out like what the hell are we seeing? So as soon as we get there, I immediately parked, and for whatever reason, I was almost like drawn to the back parking lot of the property. So we ended up parking in the back parking lot. Everybody else parked in the front. We get in there, we start talking to, I believe was the owner at the time, and she starts telling us about how Destination Fear was there 3 or 4 days before we got there. And the guys from Destination Fear ended up parking in the back of the property, and they were doing an EVP session outside, and they captured what sounded to be like a Native American war cry. And it sounded like a battle like that was actually taking place in the back area of that property. And which was interesting because she didn't know anything about what we had just experienced prior to going there. She didn't know anything about what we were seeing prior to going there. And all of that just sort of came up from like the very first hour we got there. And it was something that I experienced prior to going there. So it's still like, it's weird because like I said, it's something that has just stuck with me because of what we experienced and the story that she told us, not knowing what we experienced, 6.5 hours, 7 hours prior to getting to the location.
Wow.
So that itself just pretty much started all of my, I guess, being intrigued into the space time of everything. You know what I mean? Like, how do they know that you're going there prior to going to the location?
Yeah,
like
because it's like set up, right?
Right.
Yeah, like that ghost from Miss Fanny's house talking to me before I even get a call from the living people that are going to invite me to go do this. How could she possibly have known?
Yeah, not only that, but even like more as more recent, like the church where we kept getting those EVP saying that there was going to be some sort of accident. Chris crashed, Chris crashed, Scott crashed, Skip crashed, and you ended up getting in an accident. What a couple days?
I end up having an accident a couple days later. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a lot that I don't care that about being explained, like that kind of stuff. I'd rather they don't tell me how they know about bad stuff, but rather like just to help us understand what it is we're living in and why we're here, so that way we can do it the best version of that, right? Like I think that if we had somebody just very clearly and plainly, very in the modern time, be like, "You're here to be good to each other." I would hope that all of us would be like, "Okay, all right, let's be good to each other,"
Right.
and then all the BS in the world would stop. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I think a
but
lot of it has to do with. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It just leads you back to the reasons why you're attracted to these places. Like, is there a reason behind it that you're attracted to that location? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is there some sort of connection there that you don't know about?
Yeah, I personally, when it comes to ghost hunting or any of this kind of stuff, I've never had anything that I'm like, oh, I really want to go there because it's X, Y, and Z. I really like going to places where, not like the big places like that, but like when somebody calls me because their kid is having a problem in the house, those are the kind of places that I like to go because that challenges my perception of like the paranormal, how to handle things, and it gives me a reason to want to do it because I think at some point I think the three of us could like agree like ghosts exist. What are they? I don't think we know what that is, but we can all agree that they're there. But we don't know exactly what they are and the best methods yet for capturing them or capturing evidence of them rather. So going to places just to do that, it is fun and it has its place. But definitely like going to a place to help is definitely what attracts me the most. So like if somebody's like, I don't know, the cases, people can't
Right.
sleep, bump in the night, hearing war cries in the attic with stomping, call me there because I want to help you out with that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just interesting.
We're
What were
like,
you going to say, Sean, before I cut you off?
Oh, I was just going to say that, back to the kindness thing and kind of like what I'm drawn to. I think a lot of the issue with people being unkind is the attention that people get from being negative. If there was a way to turn the amount of attention that's drawn to positivity and less attention from being negative. If you think about it, if somebody was to comment on here and say, "Hey, great to see you guys." I try to make sure I pop the comment up and wave as people come in. But how many people will not even pay attention to that comment and it's just there. They'll look at it and keep talking. I try to pull them up and wave. Hey.
Yeah. One of my favorite things on TikTok is when people are like, "Hey, you actually say hi to like as many people as you can."
Right.
I'm like, "Yeah, I read the chat. I want to say hello. I want to give you shout outs. Like that's
right.
just a kindness for you caring that I exist. Thank you. I see
try
you
to
all.
I try to acknowledge every person that pops up. I try to pull their comments up. But think about this. How many people the comments will go not popped up, they'll go ignored, but then somebody puts something stupid up like F you guys all suck in your face.
Oh yeah,
and they'll acknowledge that one.
Yep.
That'll be the one they'll acknowledge.
Every time.
And they'll go back and forth. That's the person they show attention to.
Yep.
That's why a lot of people stay negative because that's the attention they're going to get. That's their 10 seconds of fame. I think that's one of the biggest problems with the negativity in our culture and our society. And I think if we show more attention to the positivity in our society, it would definitely change. Just going back to some thoughts I had when we were talking about being kind to each other and being positive. And then the things that we were drawn to, Chris is drawn to certain places. You're drawn to wanting to help people. And I was just thinking about as Chris was talking to the war cry thing, Chris is drawn to a lot of Native American stuff. But I was also wondering, Chris. I remember was it a war cry or was it a a rebel yell you heard at St. Albans? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it was definitely Native American.
Okay. I was just curious. There was a huge battle fought right there
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
well.
and that's what
And
they were
made me
saying.
actually start to think I need to get back up to St. Albans and investigate that.
Yeah. No, it was definitely Native American. Native American sound. It wasn't like the rebel yell that we heard over.
Yeah, because I was with
at the
you.
graffiti
Hearing that was probably the creepiest thing I've ever heard while investigating. Ever.
We heard that twice in 2 different locations.
Yeah, but that second one we heard that night actually
True that,
did
Sarah.
and I don't get creeped out very easily during an investigation. That was probably the creepiest thing I've ever heard while on an investigation. Ever.
It was followed by seeing that whole group of soldiers that we thought we saw like towards the end of the road leading to.
I'm not gonna lie. That was probably, I'll say it again, that was the creepiest thing I've ever heard during an investigation.
And the crazy part is that it happened.
Brandy Station.
At Graffiti House.
And I would have thought we did a reenactment there a year later. I don't even know if it was a year, probably about 6 months later. And I would think with us, all of us being in period correct clothing and shooting rifles, it would stir it up. I didn't hear nothing. Slept like a baby. I even got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to use the bathroom. No problem.
Yeah, you see that, and that takes away from the idea that trigger objects should really do something.
I don't think trigger objects have anything to do with investigating.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I really unless we're talking about like one of our little gadgets that gets triggered when an energy crosses it. But like, bringing a toy to a kid's room doesn't really seem to increase the kid activity. Bringing a rifle to a battleground doesn't also necessarily mean that we're going to get more of that kind of activity.
Absolutely. Like, so if you think about it, we were at Brandy Station, the largest cavalry battle in the Eastern Theater was fought there. So we had cavalry reenactors. I'm talking all horses. We had us. We had the federal troops. We had all these people there, and we had artillery.
They were all there for the purpose of reenactment, not ghost hunting, right?
Right. No ghosts. Only ghost hunters. Okay. There were me, Courtney, and Lost Souls Paranormal.
Imagine you had told all of those reenactors, like, hey, today, guys, before we go to bed, about 11:15 p.m. tonight, I just want 1 minute where we can all just concentrate on the actual people we're portraying, or like, that particular space and time. And just think about them really being here in this camp with us. I bet you that you would have been able to get some activity that night if you had set the intention, and just to the non-believers, and just say to them and be like, look, I'm not trying to trample on you. I just am trying to do an experiment because, I do this other stuff too. So can you just give me the minute to just concentrate on it? And let's see if that helps spike the activity.
No, that did happen at Cedar Creek. We did a reenactment at Cedar Creek, and we told like 2 or 3 people, like people in my reenactment unit knew we were ghost hunters, and we told 2 or 3 people. Next thing you know, 20 showed up, and we were all still in period correct clothing. We decided to do a spirit box session in the middle of the battlefield at like 12 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden, our captain started yelling battlefield commands, and next thing you know, it was literally, you could hear, I got shot, I'm hit, got him, stuff that you shouldn't hear a spirit box say. It was literally all stuff like that. But but Brandy Station that night, we weren't even investigating. We were just literally outside talking, and all of a sudden you could hear a rebel yell echo across the battlefield, and it was so eerie. It like echoed all across the battlefield that night. It was like the eeriest thing I've ever heard.
Wow.
But we are going to wrap this up. We've been on about close to 2 hours. I know you got your family.
Wow, that went by fast.
It always goes by fast when it's us three. So I enjoy y'all taking the time, and thank y'all.
Yeah.
Those of you who are still in here, be sure to go follow Chris Mendace. It's Supernatural Untold Stories. Make sure y'all follow Scotty the Medium on of his 10 million things. He's got the Signal Network. He's got Scott the Medium. I think Scott the New Jersey Medium is his other channel.
We got all kinds of different things, yeah.
And make sure you please continue to follow me at Hill City After Dark.
For
We
sure.
are also on the Other
Keep
Side
follow.
Paranormal Podcast. We host Hill City tours as well every Friday and Saturday night. We have a haunted pub crawl. We also do Ghost on Gallows Hill. We do Echoes After Dark. We have some amazing tour guides. And I believe Scott the Medium will be joining us on one of our haunted pub crawls.
I sure will be.
Hopefully he'll drag Chris Mendace with him.
So see what I can do.
Hopefully.
Need a drive along partner.
But it'll be a great time. I believe he'll be doing an investigation following the pub crawl. And I think he's going to be doing some readings as well.
Yep. All of it. Make sure you go.
All
go to the Hill City After Dark website, get all the information, and then come and hang out with us. Pub crawling, gallery readings, ghost huntings, all the good stuff. Plus, I'm going to tell a couple dad jokes. You're going to have a real good time, I promise. I might even dance if you're lucky.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Look, I went to each bar, and they're all excited. Doug Kennedy was just on our tour. Doug, I was just talking about your daughter earlier. She's the one that brought the Polaroid camera out to one of our investigations.
Oh, look at
so I was bragging about y'all. Doug showed up in one of our investigations. The first investigation, he didn't have any equipment. Second investigation, he brought out the phone and was taking pictures. He was ready. I was like, Doug, why don't you lead this one? Doug was ready.
Doug was ready. I got much respect for Doug. He watched 12 seasons of Ghost Hunters. He was ready.
They've been rolling with us for a while, so I appreciate y'all's support. But make sure y'all give these guys a follow. Keep following us for all of our events. And we will catch y'all on the other side.
See you soon, guys. Bye.
Later.